Hi guys, and welcome to today's lesson. This is going to be the final lesson working on this painting. So last time we were looking at adding some kind of more complex textures into the background, also starting to add more different colors. And what we're going to be doing today is finishing off the face, so kind of like working a bit closer into the face. Doing the same sorts of things, so we kind of added a bit of kind of greyness, coolness into certain elements. And also a little bit more texture. So yeah, we'll probably just work kind of section by section, maybe starting with the forehead, because that's quite an easy one, and just sort of work our way down, essentially. So we take this as our starting point, and I'll be doing it on the same layer that we were working on last time, and also probably using similar sorts of brushes, so going more into going more into some texture. So looking at it, we're probably maybe a little bit too yellowish, and it could do with being a little bit cooler. So let's try that. So putting kind of more reddish tint. So using this sort of more stucco-ish brush. Yeah, that's looking a bit better. And then nearing the edges, going a little bit darker, a little bit cooler, a little bit grayer, I should say. Maybe dropping off a bit more significantly right underneath the hairline. A bit scratchy, this brush. I'm going to swap to a different one. Maybe just going for a round brush for a little bit. So then we'll go back to a little bit warmer, a little bit lighter. Make my brush a tiny bit bigger. Back to a little bit redder. And this is the equivalent of it. If you were painting, you would be making these little subtle adjustments to your color mixtures. Adding a touch of one color here, a touch of another color there. So you can just see, if I flick back and forth, just where we've added just a bit more complexity to the forehead there. So we can add some more of those colours. So now, say near the eye, we can pull a little bit more of this greyish colour out. I'm going to zoom back a bit just so I can see the reference a bit more clearly. I'm at it, I'm going to add it into the side of the head a little bit as well. And also down around the mouth, even a slightly lighter, cooler colour underneath the mouth. And then back to a warmer colour. This is similar to what we did in the forehead there. And I'm just going to use, maybe not quite that darker colour, but a slightly darker colour, just to sort of sharpen off the shaping of the nose, front of the shadow edge, and go a little bit darker for where the nose shadow's dropping across. It's not looking too bad. Maybe bring a little bit of this redness across. And also just extend a little bit the darker portion of this chin, just to get it to turn away a little bit more dramatically from the light. Not quite that far. Yeah, that's looking not bad. And something else I wanted to do, just as we're finishing, is get a little bit more warmth underneath this jawline. So it's a slightly more yellowish colour, I think, a little bit lighter. So just this sense of the reflected light bouncing up is just nice. Sort of softens out the jaw slightly, makes the colour relationships a bit more sophisticated. That's a little bit light what I did just there, so maybe pick a slightly darker colour. Yeah, that's not looking too bad. Maybe pull a bit of the half tone down a bit, just to keep the jaw at the right height. A little bit of pinkishness, I think, wouldn't go amiss. Yeah, like that. That's not bad, actually. Yeah, and then I might just grab a much lighter colour, pop some little highlights in here and there. Primarily on the nose, just a little bit on that lip, maybe also just carry that a bit softer, and just soften the transition across this lower portion of the lip. Brush a little bit bigger again. Yeah. Pretty good. So yeah, if I flick back and forth, we can just sort of see the additions this week. So it's not enormous, just kind of like rounds things out a little bit, makes them just a bit more interesting to look at because you've got those cool warm shifts through the face. The greyness helps enhance the redness where there's like the rosier cheeks and so on. So that's kind of what you're looking for when you're doing this kind of thing. But yeah, so that's it for this piece. I think there's like a couple more weeks before the summer break. So we'll be focusing on either like another 2-part series or just a couple of little sketching bits here and there. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this kind of, I think it's a 4-part that I did. Portrait painting, digital portrait painting lesson. As always, if you subscribe, you can keep up to date with more videos from myself and other tutors and students from the school. And if you're interested in the sorts of paid qualifications we offer, you can click the link in the description below to check out the website. So yeah, that's it for this week, and I'll see you guys soon.